Hi everyone, Dr. Sonia Jensen from Divine Elements with Dr. Natalie Roar, also from Divine Elements. And we just wanted to take a moment to talk about self-worth and value, because we find it comes up a lot in our practice with women. I mean, men too, but we do see this pattern when we are talking to women about their health and what we feel would be beneficial for them, but we can see their wheels turning about, okay, wait, if I invest into myself, what am I taking away from? And so that's where we had this conversation about like wanting to talk about self-worth and how important it is to put ourselves first so that we can be there then for our family, right?
Right. I think it's I find it's really interesting that we come up against this a lot. And I was actually just speaking with a patient of mine who she's retired and she is experiencing the effects of severe chronic disease that over time very quietly crept into her body, and now she has been debilitated by it for years, and she knows it now. She's kind of come full circle and been able to go, wow, those symptoms, isn't that interesting that those are the ones that came up because I was always a giver, and and her tendency is to be that person who's constantly giving, and it's really just ingrained in her. It's not a conscious thought even to say, I'm going to put myself last. It's just automatic.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting because I think the women who I see now, sometimes the older ones have come full circle.
Yeah, well, they're in a time of reflection, right?
Exactly. So, but then the women who are still in our age group between like 35 and 45 and managing, juggling career, family, there are that same programming still comes up, like, but I still, who's going to take care of the kids? Who's going to, and that's valid. All those things, of course, those reasons are valid. But it's interesting to hear it come up so often.
Yeah. There's a lot of emotion behind it, right? And one of the biggest ones being guilt. So if we're taking time for ourselves, or if we're investing into ourselves, then what about, the things that I have to buy for my kids, or what I have to do for the house, or my partner, and, anybody else in the community? Like, we're always thinking about that before ourselves, and it isn't until we reach that point of reflection and that age where we're like, okay, well, what worked, what didn't work, or our body will start to scream at us.
Yes, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we have to really look at, I know I was raised by a generation who, every time I'd say something to my mom, like, I want that, everything was, that's too expensive, that's too expensive, that's too expensive. So I hear this a lot from not just patients, but but friends, people in my social groups. And there's a difference between cost and worth, or value, cost and value. And I think that we're not always thinking about what the value is. And if you can project into the future what something that helps you now, what that means for your life throughout the years, if you can nourish yourself now, and if that means you have more energy, if that means you're clearer headed, you're happier, you feel more loving to yourself, to everyone around you, what is that worth? What is the value of that throughout your life? That's that's priceless, really. So if that means that, I spend a few $100 right now, or a few $1,000s right now on something that's really, really important for me, and if that means that you're really feeling good after that because of that, and you've reset and reprogrammed something, the value of that is unbelievable.
Because it's energy. Money is also energy. And the reason why we're bringing this up is when we're talking about health, we're not just talking about our physical bodies, right?
Yes.
Everything, when we define what success is for ourselves, it's our physical health, it's our emotional health, it's also our finances, it's our relationships. Everything contributes to it. So it's so important to have this discussion about how much we value ourselves, because we put numbers on everything. And it's not about the number. It's what Dr. Natalie said. It's about how much we value ourselves and that. And those patterns didn't start today, right? They started from when we were very young. So, honoring that too, of like, okay, these thoughts that I'm having, are they actually mine? Or am I hearing another voice telling me that this isn't worth it, or I'm not worth it? Because we've seen that in our upbringing.
Right. Well, and one of the ways that this has manifested for me in my life, so both my husband and I after 2016 ended, and I know 2016 was really rough, it seemed, for a lot of people. 2017 has been different. And we made some decisions around this year because, you know, my husband did a PhD in chemistry. I went back to school for naturopathic medicine. We both came out at the end of that very educated. Our brains are worth a lot of money. And yet there's this massive amount of debt that most people come out of, you know, extended schooling with. And you have so much to catch up on, because it's not just what your education or, you know, this thing that we have already placed value on. And it's the best money you'll spend, probably. But we've already... Our society has accepted that as that's valuable, so that is okay to go into lots of debt for, right? And at the end of 2016, we decided, wow, look at everything we've invested, time-wise, energy-wise, financially, into our educations. And maybe we've questioned it and kind of gone, well, has that fully paid off just yet? Maybe not quite yet, but we're absolutely happy with our decisions. But now, for 2017, we made the decision that, well, we asked ourselves, what if we spent that amount of energy and time, or even a fraction of that, even financially, on something that developed something deeper in ourselves,
who we really are.
And this deeper self-care. My husband was reading a book, and it kind of used this analogy of this massive oak tree. So you keep feeding this oak tree all your energy, all your finances, because it's this valuable thing. It's this beautiful oak tree. But in the book, the woman felt so horrible, but she needed to cut that oak tree down, and she cut it down, and all of a sudden, all the things around it, all the little things that she tried planting around it finally bloomed, because this massive oak tree that's so beautiful and precious seeming was draining the soil of all the nutrients. And she thought all along it was her fault. She wasn't doing it right. So just a really interesting analogy of this is, you know, we put our financial investment into homes and cars and
things we need,
educations, things that are valuable, right? And but why is that why is it that we don't see ourselves as one of those pillar items that we have to absolutely
because this is our vehicle. You know, we invest into the cars, but this is our vehicle in this lifetime. So if we invest into that, it's going to carry us through. And bringing it back to the energetics of money, the more we give. I mean, at the end of the day, what is it that we want to do as human beings? We want to give. And the more we do that, the more the universe comes back and we start to receive. So the more we give to our body, the more that it can give back to us as well.
Almost comes from a place of gratitude versus fear.
Absolutely. So it's that mindset, right? Changing our belief around what's important, how much we're worth, and being in gratitude. So doing an exercise, you know, daily, reminding ourselves, because we can get so caught up in what's not working. So giving yourself 5 minutes a night, you know, and talking about with your partner or just by yourself and saying, okay, what am I gratitude or what am I thankful for? And taking it from there.
It's a beautiful journey, and it can be a long one. And actually, it's funny, I was actually just talking about this at the dog park this morning, that, you know, one of the dog owners was saying, oh yeah, my dog gets that salmon oil and you know, this and that, and she's like, wow, it's funny, my dog gets it, but I don't. What we place value on, the things, the people, the animals, the family we take care of, you know, we're usually placing that value on them, and yes, of course they're valuable. But what happens if we don't decide that we're as well just as valuable?
And we can use that as a tool too, because we will always do something for others before we do it for ourselves. So if we can change our mindset about, okay, in order for me to be there for the dog, for your kids, for your partners, whoever, in order for me to be there, I'm going to have to fill up my cup first.
Absolutely.
So we love hearing your comments. Please write them below about our discussion or any other discussion you want us to have. Dr. Natalie and I are hosting a retreat. So for those who really want to bring up the level in their cup, right, at the end of June, it's for women, and it's going to be a beautiful retreat in Baja, Mexico. Lots of yoga, lots of TLC, and just
lots of the stuff that we know we need.
It's not just for you, it's for us too.
It's going to be beautiful.
So if you want any information on that, please let us know, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.